Welcome to the latest episode of Gallifrey Pirate Radio, which is episode 153. I am your host, David Beauchamp, and I am joined by my co-host,
Drew Meyer.
Okay, so I think we should start off with the big news of the week.
Big news of the week?
The big news of the week.
So I don't know, are we going with the actual big news or the joke big news?
What joke big news?
I don't know, I assumed they were
I'm talking about the big news, The leak of the scripts.
The leak of the scripts.
The leak of the scripts. The first 5 scripts were leaked on the internet today. Or not today, at the beginning of the week. And it all comes down to just human error. It wasn't like espionage, it wasn't anybody trying to hack anything. It was just a simple human error mistake.
So, from what I gathered from what you told me, because I haven't visited any sites regarding this at all, because I don't want to accidentally hear something. I don't mind the titles. That'd be cool. I'd be fine with that. But they were sending it to Latin America to get Spanish translations, and it...
No, BBC Miami.
Yes.
To get them translated into Latin America. Latin
or Spanish?
The Latin American market. Translated for the Latin American market, whatever that means, Spanish, Latin, whatever. Okay. Not trying to be insulting to anybody's language or nationality, but...
not sure how big the Latin market is for Doctor Who right now, but sure.
Well, they want to do the simultaneous world thing.
Yeah.
And it ended up on a public server.
Oh!
So a public index server, so anybody that was looking at the index of the site, was anywhere near their site, were able to pull the scripts. And we are going to participate in the hashtag for the first 5 episodes. We're going to join the big hashtag, which is hashtag Keep Me Spoiler Free. And the BBC is begging and pleading with everybody not to ruin, not to spoil these first 5 episodes, because one of the scripts that was in there was the very first episode, Deep Breath. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Plus, I don't want you to spoil it for me. I want to be able to enjoy the show and watch it the way it is meant to be watched, spoiler free. So, other than the fact that we know what the title is and who's going to be in it, that's enough for me.
Yeah, I know. So, human error, it's kind of just like how Amazon accidentally sent out Day of the Doctor early.
Yeah.
So it's, a case of human error. Like I said, we're participating in the hashtag Keep Me Spoiler Free. So you don't have to worry about us reading the scripts, spoiling stuff for you, because we want to enjoy the visual before instead of text.
Sure. And moving visuals, we did get our 3rd teaser for Series 8.
Yes.
The Look Inside Your Soul one, which...
So I want to speculate here for just a little bit.
Speculate away.
Who do you think's saying that?
Well, okay. This is not spoilers because this is my opinion. To me, the beginning sounds exactly like Davros.
Okay, that's I was curious about what you thought. I thought it was Nick Briggs. Because it sounded like Nick Briggs doing, the dialect voice.
Sure.
And I was really hoping that it might be, especially with what he was saying, the dialect was saying, that it might be a human factor dialect.
Sure.
I've been waiting for them to return. I was hoping to see them in Asylum. We didn't get them there. And, some people have said it was Davros. Some have said, there's lots of rumors, speculation about that voice.
Sure. And it could just be a teaser just like that. Now... It's been so long since I've watched Daleks Take Manhattan or Daleks in Manhattan and the evolution of the Daleks. Are those considered to be human factor Daleks? I watched it once, was so disgusting I never watched it again.
I don't. If they try to consider them human factor Daleks, I don't buy it, because the human factor Daleks came in, Evil of the Daleks with the very first Victoria, the Jamie second Doctor story. To me, those are the human factor dialects. Whatever those things were in that abysmal 2-parter, I don't even care to remember.
So you don't even consider that one to be canon?
I do consider it to be canon. You're
just not paying attention.
Exactly, I don't care about it.
Okay. Well, then, since we are talking about Power of the Daleks, let's jump ahead slightly to your OmniRumor, Ryan, and see what that has to do with it.
And it's kind of good that we're talking about the release, or the trailer too. We have 2 dates that have popped up. Mm-hmm. One is July 13th at 9 p.m., which could easily mean...
Very specific.
Very specific, which could mean that could be when we're getting the full Doctor Who trailer. and not anything to do with the OmniRumor.
Okay.
So we got to wait and see. July 13th, 9 p.m. We'll let you know what happens if nothing else happens. The other date is July 17th. Supposedly there's going to be some sort of BFI, British Film Institute, announcement with some old sci-fi stuff. I mean, they tend to do this sort of thing. But here's the thing. I've gone on their website. I have literally tore that website apart. I don't see any event, anything going on the 17th that would denote anything sci-fi, because right now their series is focusing on music. And on the 17th, they're going to, I think, if I remember correctly, they're going to be showing Track 29, which was George Harrison's film that he shot down in Wilmington, North Carolina, which, strangely enough, I'm actually in a scene.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and, the only other thing that's going on with the OmniRumor right now are people being petty and fighting and arguing and name-calling right now. It's actually been kind of boring.
So what you're saying is the OmniRumor news is actually sort of vague and untrustworthy.
Like normal. But, I mean, we have 2 dates. We'll see what happens. But nothing exciting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then let's go back to something that is exciting, and let's talk about Legacy.
Legacy. Doctor Who Legacy 2.2. And it just hit me. I forgot to print out the latest press release about what's coming. But I think I remember. I am continuing my journey on the 2.2 extravaganza. I have now updated my entire team to dual color, and there were some surprises there. And I've also just, as of today, unlocked the second color for the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith.
Oh, cool.
So, let's start with Davison.
Okay.
What do you think his second color is?
What was his first color?
His first color was green because of the celery.
Okay, then it's going to be red because of his outfit.
Exactly, the trimming. So he is a green-red. 11th Doctor. He's blue. Do you want to take a gander at what his other color might be? Because I know we haven't talked about that at all.
Green Healy-like stuff? No. Well, red, because isn't 10 was red, right?
10 was red.
Okay. Oh, you know what this means? We know that Baker, Tom Baker, is going to be either green and or red.
Really?
Yeah. Because the secondary color is going to be what the previous Doctor was.
Oh, is that how that works?
So if we know that Baker is going to be a...
Oh, that's right, you were telling me about that.
And 3, so what's Pertwee? Yellow.
Yeah.
So we know that Baker is going to be yellow and red.
Oh, the interesting. Well, what I found interesting about the blue-red, those are opposing colors.
Like
in the game.
Magic the Gathering.
Yes, like the Magic of the Gathering. Okay, K9, like I said last week, was black-blue. Royer was green-yellow. Vestra is yellow-blue.
Okay.
Clara is red-green.
Uh-huh.
Spoonhead Doctor, which was the surprise for me. I was not prepared for this. He's actually a blue-blue character, which means he does his main color damage and he does the secondary attack with blue as well. And for you that don't have any secondary colors unlocked yet, the dual color, the second attack does do less damage than the primary, but I mean, that makes sense.
Sure.
But yeah, that was kind of surprising when I saw the 2 blue things, and then I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
That's cool.
Now, the advantage is, like I was saying, you get the 2 color attack, but there is a disadvantage. Let's say you're up against a villain that will stun a color, because that was something new that I discovered. So he says the dialogue is going to stun blue. That means out of my team, the Smith character, the 11th Doctor would get stunned, K9 would get stung, and Vestra would get stunned. Because they are all technically blue characters.
What about your Spoonhead Doctor?
He would get stunned as well.
We get stunned twice?
No, just once.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen any double stunning as of yet. And also, this week, Thursday, we should be getting I believe it's a 6th Doctor and 9th Doctor challenges.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there are going to be some more Doctor challenges. Don't quote me on the exact ones, because I forgot to print out the press release.
And the 6th Doctor is teaming up with the Yellow Adipose for something.
Yeah.
And then there's one on Strax. Strax is...
Yeah, the Strax. Yeah, that was the other one.
Strax is Big Day, or Strax is something. But you can win a Strax, a helmeted Strax that has some new features.
Yeah, and
I'm signing on to Legacy right now, so I can get my daily reward.
Yes.
The only thing I can do with Doctor Who Legacy at this moment. Notice that about 10, maybe 15 seconds ago, I signed on So we're going to wait, and I'll let you know when this actually loads. This is why I don't play it on a regular basis.
And one interesting thing that I've noticed as of today, because I just decided to go back to Season 6 to get some more of the characters, I'm picking up characters, the rare drops, about every 2 to 3 games now. I've never had that good of a rate.
Well, Lee had mentioned on one of the newsletters that the drops were going to be a lot more significant.
Okay.
But it sounds like it's really significant. I would love to play.
Yeah.
A lot. So we'll just have to wait. Once it hits Facebook, I'll start playing that, and I'll be able to report on that.
Talk for just a minute or two. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
or this is a part of the show where we could edit it and.
No, I mean it's only going to take 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Then.
Yeah.
Well, still loading.
Yeah.
We are, of course, going to be going ahead to our main function for this one. Our main feature. We are going to be discussing 2 audio dramas. Last week we talked about Slipback, the Eric Sayward. 6th Doctor adventure. We're going to be talking about 2 Third Doctor adventures, Paradise of Death and The Ghosts of End Space, released in the early 1990s, starting with the Paradise of Death, which was released in 1993. Right?
Yes. It was a script by Barry Letts and directed by Phil Clark.
Okay, so let's talk about how we learned about this. So this stems back from our Nick Courtney Soldier in Time the memoirs, where he described it, and we went, "Ooh, that sounds good," and then we got it. So.
Yeah, how does he describe it? You remember that?
He really liked the first one and was very confused by the second one.
Yeah, but he made one specific thing. The Brigadier was able to say that he was wearing stockings and high heels.
Was he now?
Yeah, he says that when they were first at the place and they're experiencing the virtual reality world.
Oh, no, Painted Toes.
Painted Toes, yes.
Painted Toes.
Yeah. So I was just like, the hell you say? They're audio dramas with the Third Doctor and the Brigadier and Sarah Jane. I'm like, how have I not heard of this?
Yeah, exactly. Well, these came out as part. This is not Big Finish. This is pre-Big Finish. This is 1993.
Yeah, this is BBC,
so BBC puts
Radio.
Out straight. By the way, it still hasn't loaded yet. So let's talk about Paradise of Death, because I think you and I both really enjoyed this one.
One little fact about the Paradise of Death, it takes place between Time Warrior and Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Right, so this is just after Pertwee, this Third Doctor, has met Sarah Jane. So, after the Time Warrior, they've returned back from Iron Grond's castle, and she is kind of pestering him. It actually starts in right off. I mean, it is right in there. So, which I think is fascinating that they were going for continuity rather than and introduces a brand new character.
Yes, Jeremy.
Jeremy Fitz Oliver.
Yes, who only has 2 appearances.
No.
You know,
in audios.
In audios, that's what I was getting at.
Okay.
He only has 2 appearances in audios, and then he makes a handful of appearances in written stuff.
Yes.
Not comics, not anything else. It's just like some of the short stories and things like that. I mean,
he makes an appearance. Anyway, I don't want to spoil that, but So he's When you were listening to him, did you imagine what he looked like? In my head, a really odd. What is that actor's name? Well, it'll come to me. It's not Rick Moranis, but there's a British actor that reminds me a little bit of Rick Moranis.
Well, I was going to say he reminds me of a Jimmy Olsen type character.
He's very much a Jimmy Olsen type character. He's the photographer for that newspaper.
Yeah, who's his aunt, I think, is in charge of the newspaper. If I remember correctly,
30% of the actual paper itself. Though that's not mentioned in the story. It comes back in a later one. This is according to online research, not from any prior knowledge I had to it. So, So, Paradise of Death.
I loved it.
Yeah,
it was honestly like discovering a missing episode of Doctor Who that was part of the Third Doctor's run.
Yeah, I agree.
It was so spot on. The characters, you could tell they were having fun doing it, coming back together, and doing this audio. And I think Barry Letts was at his best with this episode.
Well, I don't think Barry Letts is ever bad, but that's actually not true, because we'll be talking about the Ghost of End Space here in a moment. But yes, it really did feel like a classic episode. It was a classic 2- and 4-parter. So we have it. It's a 6-part, but the first 2 is it?
Paradise of Death were 5 30-minute episodes.
5 30 minutes. Okay,
yes.
So it's a 2 and 3-parter.
Yeah.
It does feel like a 6-parter because the first 2 parts take place on Earth at the strange space world.
Yeah.
Which is
that has protection from the UN.
Yes, UN. It has UN protection. Very fascinating. I don't know how much I want to discuss how much I enjoyed it without giving things away.
Yeah, no,
it's a very creepy, and the voice actors who did an exceptional job in this one.
Like I said, this is spot on. It was amazing.
Well, I will say this: once it got to left the planet, left Earth, and went on to the other planet, it felt a little like a typical. Almost felt. No, because if it feels like his work, you're gonna get mad at me. No, but it's not mad, but I felt that the denouement kind of let me down a little bit, and it felt a little same old once they got to the planet. A little less experimental, but I think it would have been gorgeous to see animated. I would love to see someone animate that story because. There are gladiatorial events involving Pertwee on an alien planet.
Well, here's the thing about it. It felt like a Third Doctor adventure from start to finish. That's what I loved about it. Did it get a little predictable? It's Doctor Who.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just, I think for me, it was this nostalgia factor. It was like, it was these 3 characters coming back to the role, which I had no idea existed. And they give it their all.
They nailed it. I don't know how much. From Courtney's interview, we know that he had done some radio stuff.
Yeah, because he has
shortly.
Wonderful voice.
Sexy as all get out. But Pertwee, phenomenal. And Elizabeth Sladen, just each one of them put in a absolutely modern Big Finish worthy performance in there.
Well, here's the thing. They all started on stage. They know how to project. They know how to speak. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't do any sort of radio. I mean, these other people didn't do radio themselves.
Sure.
I mean, it was such an amazing. Oh, I can't even think of the word. It's just listen to it. That's all I can say is listen to it. And honestly, I think this was probably one of the best audios I've ever heard. I mean, quality, production, a whole 9 yards. It is absolutely phenomenal.
Is this still one that's available for folks to pick up?
Only in... Well, okay. Yes, you can always pick it up. A secondary market, Amazon, wherever.
Sure.
I think you get it off of audio. I think you can also get it off of iTunes, things like that.
Okay.
But it does have a separate ISBN, so it was sold separately. We were able to get a hold of it in the big radio episode pack of all the BBC, everything that BBC Radio did. It came together in one giant pack. I think it runs about $80, and I think individually each of these stories is running about $9 to $14.
Yeah.
Like if you go through iTunes or Amazon with Audible. It's a weird sounding word. Audible. That's it. So yeah, I mean, yes, they're still available in various ways, digitally, physically, But yes, I cannot recommend it.
I would certainly recommend that.
Yes.
If you like the Third Doctor's era, especially like the Barry Letts era, and I know that some people don't, but I do, and if you do as well, this is definitely one worth.
Or if you like the Brigadier, or if you like Sarah Jane, this is a way of getting something new out of them.
I think if your sole requirement is just liking Sarah Jane, though, you may be a little disappointed in it. But she again, Slade does a good job.
But again, she's reliving that role from that era, from that period between Time Warrior and Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I mean, they nailed that time period, I think, perfectly for all those characters.
Okay, so were they as successful with the next story, which is the Ghosts of End Space, which came out in 1996?
Yes, and it takes place between Death to the Daleks and the monsters of Peladon. The monster of Peladon.
Okay, that makes sense then. Yeah. Wow.
And again, it's Barry Letts writing it. Phil Clark directing it. We have Sarah, we have Briggs, we have Jeremy. I don't think this one is as tight or as good as the Paradise of Death. And actually, maybe because we sort of listened to them back to back, it was sort of a letdown. At least to me.
Yes, I think that I listened to them about a week and a half to 2 weeks apart, but that was the last audio drama I'd seen. And yes, it is a letdown. It's a very letdown. Okay, forget I said, just cut, erase that, no. It's interesting because both of these felt like Barry Lett's scripts.
Yes.
But while the first one, The Paradise of Death, felt like a typical, just a well kind of hashed one, The Ghost of End Space felt a little lets off his leash. Maybe a little Planet of Spiders, which really does bring. It gets better. I feel like they kind of reel him back in a little bit with that. But the psycho-scientific babble in this is so much, and we know that. I mean, we know from the Nicholas Courtney discussion that he didn't understand what was going on the entire time.
Neither did the third Doctor, neither did John. He had no idea.
Pertwee doesn't like that kind of stuff from everything that I've gathered from interviews. I understood 70% of what was going on, and I think if I gave it a second listen, it would make sense. But there is some questionable editing, questionable scripting and writing, and this is what threw me off. A fair amount of profanity for a Doctor Who story. It's only one character. But there's one character who is part of his character is to use a lot of profanity. And then the weird orgasming sounds was a bit much. It kind of throws you out. If you are planning on listening to them, I'm not going to explain where they come in, but you can something to look forward to at the very last.
Well, here's the one thing I noticed, especially when you're talking about writing. The Paradise of Death felt like an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Ghost of In Space felt like it was written for the radio, and they were describing more things.
Oh, so yes, okay, I got, yeah.
Because like in Paradise and Death, they just went with it, and my mind was able to fill in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't spelling out every scene, what everybody was doing. Like, oh, Sarah, I see that you're doing blah, blah, blah. They didn't do that in Paradise of Death, but in Ghost of In Space, they had the characters really describing what they were doing or what other people were doing.
Or what they were seeing.
Exactly, and I think that takes you out of the moment, whereas, and the Paradise of Death didn't do that. You were along for the ride. It was like any of the missing episodes that you listen to the audios. They might interject some narration, let you know what's going on, but for the most part, you're able to follow the story just on the audio alone. This one, Ghost of In Space, I feel like they try too hard to let us know what is going on, to describe things, and I think it just takes you out of the moment. It takes you out of the flow of the character dialogue.
Especially because of what's happening is in itself subjective.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things to describe is what they're experiencing. I think how they explain using audio sounds and cues to explain the time travel was fairly effective, though at times confusing because the time travel is done in two ways, both a physical TARDIS-like way and then an end space way. And the end space way I think was a little confusing. And I actually want to go back. I described this as kind of lets off his leash, which I still say is true, but it had a feeling like this would have been an excellent Seventh Doctor story. This felt a lot more. Didn't even think about it until now, but this kind of feels like you could nestle it more appropriately in a Cartmel era world.
Yeah.
And I think it fits more with the Seventh Doctor's, well, you see Ace, this, and this, but,
See, now I wonder if maybe, 96.
96? Oh, I mean, Doctor Who was well off the air.
Yeah, no, that's the TV movie. Yeah.
Right, but this also, and from what I read, this was made in 94, but for whatever reason didn't get released until 2 years. And maybe they've released it to kind of hype the TV movie. I don't know.
There's a 3-year difference for the most part.
Yeah,
with the release dates.
I think the voice acting, was not as strong in this one as well, and it could be that it felt very stereotypical Italian because it takes place in Italy.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird for the Brigadier to have his Italian, but he goes on to explain why.
Yeah.
I mean, which is I find fascinating because even though it was produced after Terror of the Zygons, it's supposed to take place before Terror of the Zygons, so it's kind of cementing the Scottish roots of Lethbridge-Stewart.
It actually takes place in 1975 Italy.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's supposed to be contemporary for them.
Yeah.
What did you think of some of the secondary? What did you think of Max and Maggie?
I
bring this up because after last week's episode talking about Slipback and the drunken ditzy computer, we have Maggie, who is essentially the dim-witted, almost sex object with the heart of gold.
But she also was a very good counterpoint to Jeremy.
Yes.
And I really like the way, whenever those two were together, they were incredible together.
Absolutely.
I love those scenes. But when they were not with each other, I kind of lost track of them. I know they were talking to other people. I mean, Jeremy had lots of scenes with the Brigadier.
Jeremy's better written in this one.
He's definitely better written. He has a bigger role. But, at times, he just falls to the wayside.
He does,
but
absolutely.
When he's with Maggie, he shines. I mean, both those characters shine.
Yeah.
I mean, but she wasn't as irritating as the computer.
No, definitely not. No, in no way. In no way is she as irritating as the computer. And you know who she is, right? That's Peter Davison's wife.
Which one?
First one.
First one. Okay. So Trillian from Hitchhikers.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense now.
And if this, I can't remember when they got divorced. It's either 94 or 96. So it's around the same time as the divorce. So. Yeah.
Factoid.
Oh God. Sorry. Classic Doctor Who people and audio people. Is it? I believe it's in this one. I think Max. I could very much be mistaken. Is Stephen or Stefan Thorne, who is Omega, and Azal. And is that who it is?
I think so.
Max?
I remember seeing a list of credits in one of the things that I saw Azal and a few things.
Okay, because I listened to it and said, okay, this voice sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I couldn't place it.
And now that you're saying that, I could totally.
I looked it up like last week, and now but I remember going, ooh, I should write that down, and I did not. So, okay.
So,
would you recommend this one?
Yes and no. Yes.
I think you're going to go right along with me on this one. Yes, you would recommend it from a historical aspect.
And also that it's, it is the third Doctor. I mean, all three of these actors are dead. We're not going to get anything new from them. To me, this was new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it kind of felt like a gift.
It was. It was so much a gift. I was so excited about learning about these two episodes that I had to track them down right away. And to me, it is a gift. I love these three characters. It's painful that they're no longer with us. But people grow old. Absolutely. People die. They get disease. They die. And this was like a gift. Like I said, this is like finding those missing episodes of Classic Who, which we may or may never get. But we at least have these two with these characters. And it's wonderful that we had these. Like you said, it is a gift.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that about does us for this episode.
And join us next week. Oh, and actually this weekend, if you are in the Winston-Salem area, we will be at
ConGregate.
In Winston-Salem.
We have a couple of Doctor Who panels, right?
I know, just one.
Just one?
Just one.
There are a couple of Doctor Who panels.
Yes.
We're doing one.
We're doing one. We are doing sort of kind of like we did at Con Carolinas, which was our episode proper, where we're going to be looking back at 9 years of Doctor of New Who, leading on to the 10th. But because we have so much more Capaldi stuff, we're going to have some new people joining us.
We have a whole new cast for that. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. So that'll be up on GPR in the next coming weeks.
Yes, it's going to be exciting. And I think that's what the only other con. I'm trying to think of what other cons. Also, I will be at Dragon. I know that's still a little ways off, but I do want to thank the Brit Track people. They contacted me, asked me to be a part of their panels, and I was more than happy to say yes. I been waiting a long time to be on some of their panels, and I'm just really excited by that. So thank you guys. So I guess this is GPR. Until next time, signing off. Peace.